This episode is brought to you by Bleacher Report. How do you follow sports? From college football to the NBA, Bleacher Report brings you the latest news, live scores, and epic highlights from your favorite leagues, teams, and athletes, all in one app. Dive into exclusive shows hosted by your favorite athletes and original Bleacher Report series with breaking news, rumors, and predictions all season long. Download Bleacher Report to personalize your coverage.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in places that could expose you to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, their US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Welcome into 49ers Access. My name is Sterling Bennett. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Hope you had a wonderful time with your friends and family. But we have some football to discuss, and as you can tell, it's an audio-only version of the podcast this week. I'm currently vacationing back home in the Bay Area for New Year's and my father's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. What are you, 65 now, you old fart? But yeah, we're talking some football. It's a big game this Monday for the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, the playoffs are out of the question now. They're 6-9 this year, not very good, and they have secured last place in the NFC West for the first time since 2020, but this is the rematch of last year's NFC Championship game, Monday Night Football, prime time. I'm just envisioning what Roger Goodell and the scheduling committee thought of. Oh, Niners and Lions, fully healthy, two NFC juggernauts head-to-head. This could have number one seed implications. Oh, Week 17 is going to be great. And now you're like, well, this sucks. Like, as Niner fans, you're sitting back like, cool. Can't wait to get embarrassed in prime time once again this year. But you never know what can happen when the Niners play at Levi Stadium, at home, in prime time, because they're playing the Detroit Lions, the 13-2 Detroit Lions, who are, ironically enough, still vying for the number one seed in the NFC. They currently hold that spot, but they're also holding off the Philadelphia Eagles. Are ahead by one game. They're also holding off the Minnesota Vikings in regards to maybe clinching the NFC North division this year. So things are testy for the Detroit Lions, although they are one of the best teams in the entire NFL this season. But there is one big question. The Niners stink. They're 6-9. They're banged up all over the place. You know, are the Lions going to kick this team while they are down? Even if, because the Lions and Niners played last in Week 17, if the Lions watch the Packers beat the Vikings, which means the Lions would clinch the NFC North, will the Lions play their starters? According to head coach Dan Campbell, who has some of the nastiest teeth I have ever seen, mind you, he said, we're bringing everything we got to this game. We are playing. I don't care what it looks like or where it's at and who this is or who's that. We are going to go out there and play and win this game out on the West Coast. So, by those words, via Lions head coach Dan Campbell, they want to win this game. They are going to try to come out to San Francisco or Santa Clara and embarrass the San Francisco 49ers this year. And the Lions have, in recent weeks, kind of had a habit of embarrassing bad teams. I think it was Week 16 against the Bears. They did a weird fake botched snap, got their tight end wide open for a touchdown, Sam Laporta, and we all were like, oh, it's a broken play. Nope, it's a touchdown, and that was designed by Ben Johnson. Now, Maybe that's giving them too much credit, but it certainly seemed that was the case out there in Chicago last weekend. But that's the Lions this year. They are a team that is banged up. Like, they have injuries everywhere. Aiden O'Connell's been out for, 3/4 of the year thus far. Aleem McNeil's out. David Montgomery may or may not play this Sunday. He had like 3 different doctors tell him 3 different things in regards to his injury. They're banged up, but they have persevered through the season. Again, they are 13-2, and they want to play. They want to play hard. They want to, again, embarrass San Francisco. They want to get revenge, if you will, on San Francisco for what happened last year in the playoffs, where the Lions were just, they were crushing San Francisco. It was like we all were stunned. We were shocked. I remember I was working that playoff game at 95-7 the game. I was going to host postgame there. And my boss texts me and says, I need you on Twitter Spaces now because people are angry and they want to know and talk through what the heck is happening. It was a disaster. Then all of a sudden, whatever happened in that halftime locker room, something clicked. The Lions started to play poorly. A few Josh Reynolds dropped passes, and lo and behold, San Francisco punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. That's a bitter taste in the Lions' mouth. They want to avenge that loss, and I guess you can say prove they're a better team this year, which means nothing. like had both these teams been healthy, like had it been Brock and Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and Christian McCaffrey, and Trent Williams and Aaron Banks, and the defense is playing great, okay, we can have that conversation, but what I don't want to happen is Lions fans or the team itself to be like, oh, we beat San Francisco. It's like, well, I mean, okay, you did technically, but it's not really the same thing. Sure, by box score wise, yes, but this team also has lost to the Rams twice in pretty bad fashion. They've lost to the Cardinals once, may lose to them again in Week 18. They've lost to the Seahawks, who scored 6 points against the Bears on Thursday Night Football. I mean, come on. I don't think beating this version of San Francisco is much to kind of hang your hat onto, but a win's a win. If the Lions win, they're 14-2. Give them that credit, give them that kudos, and say, hey, what? Tip of the cap. You're having a great year. We're not having one. But I do want to talk about the injuries because the Niners had a load of injury stuff happen this week. We're out there opening gifts and presents and singing songs and watching movies. I tell you this, in a span of a day and a half, I watched The Grinch, Santa Claus 1, Santa Claus 2, Home Alone 2. It was me and my wife and my dog sitting on the couch saying, we're not getting up. It's Christmas Eve, we ain't getting up. We are hunkering down, we're eating snacks, we're eating candy, we're eating popcorn. We're having a Christmas day, Christmas Eve all to ourselves. And the best part about it is, I get to do it again because now I'm in Northern California with my family and we're having Christmas part 2. Shout out Charlie Sheen and the Hot Shots gang. We're having a Christmas part 2 up here, but throughout that entire week, we've seen a ton of injuries come out for San Francisco. Some good, that being Isaac Guerrero, who is supposed to play this week. The running game didn't work against Miami. Maybe they can get it going against the Lions. Who knows? But Trent Williams is officially done for the year. He's on injured reserve. Jalen Moore, the backup left tackle, he's also on injured reserve now. He's out the next 2 weeks of the season. Aaron Banks, the left guard, he's going to miss the next 2 weeks of the NFL season. And Spencer Burford, who was initially this team's backup right guard, then moved to backup left guard, then moved to, I guess you can say, emergency third-string left tackle when Williams went down. And when Moore went down against the Dolphins, Burford came in. He got hurt in that game. He's doubtful to play this week. There is a chance he plays, per Kyle Shanahan, but the Niners, it looks like they're going to have a makeshift left side of the offensive line. It feels like it might be recent signing Charlie Heck. It might be recent signing Austin Pleasance. Maybe they go with Sebastian Gutierrez, who has played one game in his entire career since 2022. Not great. Like, yikes. This is Brock Purdy having maybe the worst left tackles in football guarding his blind side. And then you mentioned, well, left guard, Aaron Banks hasn't been great this year. Okay, well, who's going to play left guard? The freaking backup center, Nick Zakelj, is going to play left guard on Monday. Like, this is not great. Obviously, you want younger players to prove themselves. Like, our eyes are going to be on Zakelj for sure. What can he prove? But it's like, that's your backup center. And now he's your starting left guard because everybody else has gotten hurt. Not great. Not great for the San Francisco 49ers, and really not great for Brock Purdy. All the talk of, Brock's got to play better, and he didn't play great against the Dolphins. Well, I'll rephrase that. Brock played good against the Dolphins until that last 2 minutes. Then it was like, oh, that's not great. Interception. And in previous weeks against the Rams and against even the Buccaneers, like, it's just like been this weird kind of funk he's been in for about, 6-7 weeks. It's not been great, but not having your left tackle, now not having your backup left tackle, now maybe not having your third string left tackle, or your starting left guard, or your backup left guard, certainly plays a factor into how good a quarterback can be, which Brock, unfortunately, has arguably been kind of surrounded by simultaneously like a group that is they have the ability to win football games, but in the same breath, you're like, wow, Charlie Heck and Austin Pleasants are playing left tackle. Like, Ben Barch, who was good for a game or two, but now Nick Zakelj, who's super improving, and Jake Brendel still stinks, and McKivitz is still fine enough, but it's like, you went from wow, if Brendel and McKivitz are the worst guys on the offensive line, we're going to be okay, to now it's like, oh my God, those guys are terrible, and somehow they may be the second best players on the offensive line in week 17 and 18. Not ideal. Not a good thing for Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. And on the defensive side of things, Dre Greenlaw. He is now done for the year as well. Played 30 snaps against the Rams. Could have finished the second half. Then against the Dolphins, played 4 snaps. Hurt his calf. He's done for the year. They didn't say what the MRI results were, but not good, obviously. They want to preserve him. They want to maybe be able to get him at a cheaper contract or in the offseason, but nonetheless, not a great thing for Dre Greenlaw, not a great thing for the defense. The hope was that if there's going to be a silver lining to this year, it's Lenore's playing great. The draft class looks competent, they have some stars around the roster, and it's like, wow, Greenlaw's back. Hope he plays for maybe 5 games and looks like himself again, or can kind of get his feet under him. Not the case. He's not going to play the next 2 weeks. You're only going to have 34 snaps in the 2024 season. I think that likely means you see Warner and Winters out there against the Lions on Monday, which, funny enough, I know Winters, D. Winters deserved to start all year long. He had outplayed Devondre Campbell all the time. He had some lingering injuries throughout the year, which kind of held him back and made him not be able to start each week. But when he was out there, he was so clearly ahead of Devondre Campbell. And I was going through the PFF stats today, and of linebackers that have played 150 snaps this season, Warner and Winters are the only 2 linebackers on the same team to have a coverage grade above 90. So in a weird way, despite the maybe lack of continuity at linebacker this year, Campbell, Greenlaw, Winters, but Bethune played for a little bit, Graham has played, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles has played. Winters and Warner have been the best coverage linebacking duo in football this year. Now, you want some more takeaways for sure, but when it comes down to coverage grade only, they're the best coverage linebacking duo in football. So I'm hoping, and I'm figuring that'll be the starting group on Monday, with likely Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles mixed in there on base downs when they're playing 3 linebackers. But you're not having Dre Greenlaw out there a lot of people said, why play Purdy? Why play Fred Warner? why play this team's, I guess you can say, under contract stars next year? And Fred Warner pretty much said, like, I have to finish this year. I have to go out the right way. Like, this game deserves it. My teammates deserve that from me. And that really is, like, what this season at the end means. It's pride. Like, you don't quit when things get tough in the NFL. You push through. And you can see that this team, the veterans are like, yeah, this year sucks. I don't want to play. But I owe it to Lenore. I owe it to Charvarius Ward. I owe it to D. Winters and Tatum Bethune, who is coming back from IR hopefully this week. Leonard Floyd, Malik Collins. I owe it to Nick Bosa, who is playing through an oblique and a hip injury. I owe it to the draft class, Mustafa and Green. I owe it to these young guys to show them, like, hey, we're in this together till the end. I'm not going to quit like Devondre Campbell does when things go awry for me. And that's really important. And I think, there's a reason why players like Fred and Purdy and Kittle, amongst others, are held to a different standard, right? Their play obviously does it for them, but it's like the mentality they have. Like, no, yeah, my year sucks, but so what, my ankle's fractured. So what, my shoulder hurts. So what, my hip hurts. Like, yeah, we're all hurting. And it's not like I'm not going to quit and say, no, I'm good, when my team, although the year's over with, really, like, my team still needs me. Like, that to me is what this year's about. Finish off. You're probably going to lose in this game and the next, but it's like, so what? Like, you go out on the battlefield knowing you're facing the impending doom of a defeat or death on, in actual battle. Like, you go out there with your brothers and sisters saying, you know what, like, if we're going to go out, we're going to go out together. And that's, that's commendable. It's honorable. And I could not think of other players like Fred and Purdy and even Debo for his antics this year, and Kittle and Bosa and many others. Like, this team will stick together, and they're playing for pride for the most part. But, like we always do in a very abridged version, because I'll be honest with you folks, if the Niners win this game, I'll be speechless.
This episode is brought to you by Google Gemini. With the Gemini app, you can talk live and have a real-time conversation with an AI assistant. It's great for all kinds of things, like if you want to practice for an upcoming interview, ask for advice on things to do in a new city, or brainstorm creative ideas. And by the way, this script was actually read by Gemini. Download the Gemini app for iOS and Android today. Must be 18 plus to use Gemini Live.
I will come on here on the postgame show on the YouTube channel and be like, huh? Like, what just happened? Like, there's no way this Niners team with a 4th-string left tackle and a 3rd-string left guard and a 5th-string running back and just decimated by injuries everywhere is going to win this game. Now, give them like a minus or like a 0.5% maybe, but it's like they're not going to win this game. Like, this game is probably going to be ugly, but like the goal to me is like, just give them a fight, right? Show them you got something left. Show them that, okay, like, you are a better team this year, but once we get Ayuk back, and once we get CMC back, and once we get Trent back, and whoever's playing left guard next year back, Ben Barch probably, once we get Greenlaw back, and once we kind of get healthy again, things are going to be different. Round 3 will be totally different, right? And like, that to me is the goal. With pride, but also just, you want to go out like on your own sword, right? You don't want to go out being like, well, we got beat 45-10. Like, oh God. You want to lose 27-16, 27-20. Like, you want to make this game relatively close. Make it, give the NFL like, wow, San Francisco really is being held back by injuries. And there's so many other things that have hurt San Francisco this year, but in a game like this where if you're a certain fan, you're like, just lose, right? Just lose the game. But if you're the team itself, you're like, we want to play spoiler. And that should have happened against the Dolphins last week, but it didn't, which is just insane because the Dolphins stink. But, I couldn't think of a better way to end a really crappy season, a lost, disastrous, tumultuous, terrible year, and say, you know what, let's go into 2025 having, let's say, spoiled the Lions year. They're the 1 seed, right? Nope, boom, they're bounced to the 2 seed. Or they're bounced to, if the Vikings win, let's say the number 2 seed in the NFC North. Like, let's give these guys a fight. Like, we're not playing for anything, but they are. And let's make them have to go through hell to get what they want. Like, that to me is the goal. That to me is like, be somewhat of a roadblock for them, right? That is like, if I was playing, which I'm clearly not playing in the NFL, but like, that to me would be the goal. You also want to see stuff from, if Bethune plays at linebacker, more from Green and Mustafa, Hufanga's out there again. Like, there's small little micro victories you want to have, right? You want to see the defensive line play better. Hopefully next year it's Floyd and it's Bosa and it's Collins and it's Evan Anderson. Like, does the run defense improve against Jahmyr Gibbs, who is just amazing for the Lions? This Lions offense is great. They are averaging 32.9, 33 points a game this year. That ranks first in football. They walk into other places. They defend their own home field like no other. They have been basically the best team in football all year long. For all the talk Casey gets, which I get it, but the Lions have been a more dominating force this year. They have just walked into places and it's been like, you know what? Like, this means nothing to us. Like, oh, you have a quarterback. Oh, you have Jordan Love. Who cares? Here's 35 points against that defense. Here's 45 points against, I don't know, name a random team. Like, they don't fear anybody. They know they can beat anybody. Like, the Lions are exactly who the San Francisco 49ers were last year. They just walk into a place and the other team knows, we don't really have a chance. They just have too much. And their offense shows that. Jameson Williams, who has been suspended at times and inconsistent at times, he's a fast, water, man. He is fast, mother, whatever. He gets behind you, good night. Jared Goff will hit him. Laporte is great over the middle. I think Fred, on a broken ankle, can still kind of limit him. That said, Amon-Ra St. Brown is just otherworldly at times, right? He is the best slot receiver in football, better than Cooper Kupp, better than Puka Nacua at times, better than Jamar Chase when he's there. He is the best slot receiver in football. I am hoping that it is Amon-Ra St. Brown against Lenore this Monday. Lenore locked up Cooper Kupp. 0 catches, 0 yards. It was the clamp show. I want to see that matchup. Again, small victories here or there. One of the best stories thus far this year has been the Niners re-signing Lenore to a massive contract extension, but also him continuing to get better even after getting paid. Most guys get paid and okay, yeah, we're done. No, Lenore is made to the point to I'm going to hold the fort down. On the inside, on the outside, doesn't matter. I am going to prove why signing me was worth it right after I signed the contract. And I want to see Brown and Lenore go head to head. Lock hands, lock helmets. These guys are going to war on Monday night. They're playing for pride. Those are those matchups are ones you're these guys are saying, I don't care how bad this team's year has been, you ain't beating me. You ain't the one that's gonna come at me and get the best of me tonight. Lenore's like that, and I hope we see it on Monday Night Football. It's gonna be awesome to see, and I want to see a player like Demo get the credit he deserves because he is an All-Pro. He's a Pro Bowler this year. He has been so good on a team that has been middling the entire season. He's playing and will be playing on an under 500 team the next 2 weeks. But he's been the best defender on the entire team all year, at least for the most part. That's how good he's been. And I really want to see the team, or the world, see that on primetime football. In regards to the Lions offense as well, Jared Goff is Jared Goff. He will give you the ball away. When you talk about areas where San Francisco could potentially win this game, it really does come down to Jared Goff. There's going to be opportunities for the Niners defense to get interceptions, which is one thing they haven't done recently. If they can get takeaways, like, well, the offense has its problems and will have its problems still. Like, there is a way where they can win this football game. There is a way where they can play spoiler. And a lot of that comes down to Jared Goff will give you the football. Do you catch the pick? And can your offense answer on the other side? Now, my bigger question really isn't can the defense get takeaways, although they haven't done so as much this year. My bigger question is can the offense actually answer the call? Because the Lions' offense will put up 28 points, 31 points. It's kind of a guarantee at this point in time. But can the offense answer? Like, can the offense not be the Bears? Can the offense not be the Dolphins and score 17 points a game? Which is exactly what they've done since the bye week. I don't know who needs to tell you this, but I've told you this every single week. The offense has been so much worse than the defense this year. It has been like, I don't know if this word is an actual word, but like staggeringly terrible this season for the San Francisco offense. Like, they've stalled. They've not converted on easy third downs. They've missed field goals. They'll get the ball on the opponent's 25-yard line and can't score. They'll move back 3 yards. They'll move back 10 yards. Like, this is who they are this year. Like, they're just going to get in their own way. But it's like, can you somehow fight through that to make a competitive outcome in this? Like, the Lions' defense is also really good. They're allowing 19.9 points a game, 20 points a game. Like, that's 7th in football. San Francisco's offense is only scoring 17 points a game since the bye week. So, like, all the numbers say, Lions trounce, 35 to 16, which I would not doubt it if that was the final score. But, there's just like, this year's been so weird. Like, you just have to talk about, like, what is the expectations? Like, against the Dolphins, my expectations weren't high, but they were okay. Like, you can win this football game. Even if you don't make the playoffs, you can win this game. You can be 7-9. You can finish 9-8. Like, there's ways to win this year. There's ways to be competitive at the end of the football season. Like, okay, it was a bad year, but like we salvaged some stuff late. And San Francisco let us down. At least let me down. But like, how do they come out of the gate? Do they come out of the gate defeated? Because, just the way they've talked, it's Christmas week, like, this is an easy time to check out, which I don't blame them for doing so if they do. Like, it's the holidays, your season's lost, what's the point? But, like, late in the year, like, anything can happen. Like, the Vikings a couple years ago had won, like, 10 one-score games. And they got in the playoffs, and they put the Giants, and they lost. And it was like, wow, like, what is that? Which led to the Giants re-signing Daniel Jones. But like, this year it's like, okay, like late in the year, guys are banged up, guys are tired, it's Christmas time, the elongated weeks, less practice for a lot of teams. How can you be the one to take advantage of that? Like, do you come out of the gate slow and soft and just like, I don't want to be here, it's Christmas, oh, it's the new year, like, I don't want to do it anymore, Grandpa. And Kyle Shanahan's like, well, that's too damn bad. Like, keep digging them holes. I want to see how they come out. Like, do you have fire? Do you have the passion to finish out the year as strong as you began? Which, it's all about the effort. Like, where's the effort level of this team late in the year? Which, funny enough, like, Deebo Samuel really cared last week against the Dolphins of all games. He was like, this is the game I want to play good in. And it was like, okay, like, why? But he looked pretty good. He could have had 2 touchdowns in that game had it not been for Ricky Pearsall. But, like, is Deebo motivated? Like, the Lions are going to be talking so much crap. Like, they're going to be talking that talk the whole game. And it's like, how do you respond? Do you go, yeah, whatever, wasn't our year? Or do you answer? Like, do you put your head down, get nasty, get dirty, you play more physical? Like, if I'm Deebo Samuel, and I've heard the talk, and every single outlet, whether it's television, media, the debate shows, podcasts, YouTube videos, like whether it's Sports Illustrated, theheavy.com, it doesn't matter who it is. Everybody's talking about Deebo Samuel not being a Niner next year. Like, can you prove the next 2 weeks that, like, either one, you deserve to stay in San Francisco and show us something, or two, you are showing a potential other team of your next destination that you are worth a massive contract, either to trade for or to sign via free agency. Like that to me, it's like early in the year, middle of the year, like when you're still in things, you don't really want this selfish ambition to come out. But late in the year, when your season's lost, like, yeah, be a little selfish. Like, go out there and play for you, right? Like, go out there and play to improve your stock. Go out there and, try to get you signed. Try to get your money next season. And I think for Deebo, that's a big thing for him, right? Like, do we see an impassioned Deebo Samuel this Monday night? I certainly hope so, because if you do, well, you're probably not going to win. It gives you a better chance to win. And I can think of nothing better than to spoil a Lions week 17. Like, that would be awesome. Like, oh yeah, we suck, but beat the Lions still. And that means something, at least to me, and maybe to you out there. Also, Brock Purdy. Like, Brock is an awesome dude. Brock is a commendable person. The way he talks about his team and his teammates and the coaching staff, and like the way he talks about himself, he's very much like in tune with what the world says about him.
Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, FDA approved for over 20 years. So, talk to your specialist to see if Botox Cosmetic is right for you.
For full prescribing information, including boxed warning, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
Remember to ask for Botox Cosmetic by name. To see for yourself and learn more, visit BotoxCosmetic.com. That's BotoxCosmetic.com.
And also, like, what he has to do better. Now, sometimes he fails, and sometimes he does great things, but, like, Brock is an easy person to root for. And in a year like this, where there's going to be so much noise, and there has been already, but in the offseason, going to be so much noise about, do you deserve $60 million and $50 million and $40 million? Do you deserve to even get paid at all, right? Some will say no, some will say yes. For Brock, it's like, you come out and you play really good, even in a loss against the Lions. Okay, like, that's, like, the respect will be there, right? Like, you are going to give the fan base more comfort in paying you. And I think most of the fan base wants to pay Brock, but it's like, this year has been so, like, odd and weird and just bad. It's like, I don't want to pay anybody. Like, it's not been great. Like, this year, just flush it. It doesn't even matter. But when you're going to pay someone a lot of money, you have to kind of dissect every little thing and decision and choice and play. And Brock really hasn't played great in recent weeks. You can argue dating back to the Dallas Cowboys game, like, he really wasn't great in the first half and really hasn't put together a complete game outside of that Bears game a couple weeks back where you're like, wow, that's Brock Purdy. But he also, like, hasn't been able to find that consistency from week to week, which is really scary. Like, when you're investing money into a player in a person, like, you want to know, like, what you're getting out of it. Like, when you buy a car, you want to know, hey, does the engine work? How's the transmission? Like, how the tires look? Like, if it's a stick shift, like, how do the gears work? Do the headlights work? The brakes work? How does the gas work? Like, how much mileage do you get in the gas tank? Like you want to know every single thing about it. Checks and balances. You got to get it small. Like, how's the oil? Like, you want to make sure that you are combing over everything with a fine-tooth comb. Like, okay, that's a check. Like, and you're checking off every single box. And this year, Brock has checked some boxes, but, like, has really, like, left some boxes, unfortunately, like, unchecked. And I'm hoping the last 2 weeks we can see this like, okay, pressure's off. Just go out there and play football. Like, just go be a gamer. Go be the quarterback we saw when you had nothing to lose against the Dolphins 2 years ago. When it was like, look, if I suck, I suck. I'm the third string quarterback anyways. Like, if I'm not good, I am right back to where I was on the bench. Go out there and play like that. Like, you can play reckless, fine. I don't care. Like, I want to see you be smart, but you can be smart and reckless, if that makes sense. Like, Lamar Jackson at times is smart and reckless. Like, the great quarterbacks, Brett Favre was this way, Aaron Rodgers was this way, Tom Brady was this way, Josh Allen is definitely this way. Like, he's smart and reckless. He'll make these amazing smart plays, and you're like, whoa, like, superstar. But then he makes these plays where you're just like, what the heck was that, man? Like, what am I looking at? Like, I don't know what made you think that was a good idea, but no, it wasn't. But I want to see Brock be able to put together a performance where it's just like, I'm going to go out there and ball. Like, you're out there with your boys on the gridiron, or you're out there with like your 10 friends in high school playing football. You're just messing around, having a good time, and sometimes when you're playing that free, great things can happen. Obviously, there's structures and stuff in the NFL you have to live by and whatnot, but it's like, go back and watch Brock Purdy's debut. The way he played, it was like, oh, like, this is different, and I think we've lost some of that this year, and I'm sure it's because the overwhelming year has been bad, but like, Brock, I don't know, like, there hasn't been that same freedom, if you will. And I want to see kind of a reversion back to that. Get back to who you were when you were a young rookie that didn't know any better. Like, play like a wild stallion, a bucking bronco, if you will, on Monday in Week 18 against the Cardinals. And, I don't think it'll be like that, but, like when you hear Brock talk about, finding that chip on his shoulder again, okay, walk out there like you have to earn $65 million. like, you do that, you will win football games you're not supposed to win. And I think, Purdy has it in him. I just want to see it again. But I also want to see, like, this offense around him play better, right? Like, Pearsall, like, can you push through and push past 2 critical red zone penalties against the Dolphins? I want to see him grow. I want to see him be better. He had his best game of the year against the Dolphins in, the last few weeks. The Buccaneers game was his best game, but like 4 catches, something like 50 yards, 60 yards. Like, can you continue to do that and be kind of a mainstay in the offense? Can you improve upon your performance, and can you push past mentally the mistakes you made? He got reamed by the coaching staff after the game or during the game, excuse me. It's like, can you push past that? Can you, can you as a player and as a rookie be like, look, I made a mistake. I'm going to get better the next 2 weeks and show, hey, I'm a first round pick. And, my year hasn't gone the way it was supposed to go for a variety of reasons. But like, I'm going to make sure the way I end is kind of indicative of where things will be going into the offseason. Because Pearsall can really be a great player for this team. But it all stems on, how do you end and how do you carry it over into next year? And I think Pearsall, he's got to push. Like, Debo could be gone. Ayuk may be out. Like, you have to be a piece in the offense this year or next year, and it starts the next 2 weeks. Like, can you be a major factor in the offense against the Lions, who are a pretty good defense, and the Cardinals, who are going to be competitive for the next few years in your division? Maybe not good, but at least competitive in your division. And then it's George Kittle. Like, Kittle only needs 33 yards to reach 1,000 for the 4th time in his career. Now, that's not a lot of yards at all, but it's like, get Kittle his money. Get Kittle his yards. Like, Kittle is having the best year or one of the best years of his career. He has been the most consistent offensive player on the offense for the last 16 weeks. Like, make sure he reaches that plateau. I have no idea if he'll play in Week 18, but it's like, if he plays this Sunday or this Monday, like, make sure he's the one getting the football, and hopefully They're surpassing 1,000 yards once again. And then the offensive line. Just protect Brock Purdy. Like, if you want to invest in Brock Purdy and you want to pay Brock Purdy, the one thing you got to do is protect Brock Purdy. If he's if he's out there getting banged up and just kicked around like a pinball, get him out of the game. There's no reason to get your supposed franchise quarterback hurt in a rather meaningless, although you're playing for pride and playing for many things I already said earlier. Like, you have your third string, maybe fourth string left tackle, who was like, none of the guys were rostered this year if Burford can't play. Like, why is he out there? Like, if it's the third quarter and he has like 7 sacks, just take him out. Put in Joshua Dobbs, put in Brandon Allen. There's just no point, right? Like, there's no point of risking somebody's health for a dumb reason, right? But also, like, can Pooney get better? Like, Pooney, in recent weeks, hasn't been who he was early in the year. Can he kind of get back to that? Obviously, there's rookie walls and this guy's getting tired, but it's like, can Brendel finally show something worth the contract he gets? You know, Jake Brendel's signed through 2026. Yeah. He's here the next 2 years unless they trade him or cut him. Like, he's locked into place. Now, they did sign Matt Hennessy today, but it's like, Jake Brendel's probably the guy, unfortunately. He's probably the guy. I don't understand why they do that, but, like, he's locked in place. Like, can you show you're worth a starting caliber safety job or safety center job? Like, right now, he has the 52nd ranked pass blocking grade in the NFL among centers. He sucks. Like, can you give me something to say, well, at the end of the year, he wasn't that bad, or the last 2 games, he wasn't that bad, but it's like, I mean, give me something to say, okay, like, I can maybe justify Jake Brendel, although that's going to take a lot. Like, he'll have to be perfect the next 2 weeks for me to say that, and it probably wouldn't be enough, but for the sake of the offense, like, can you simply just get through the next 2 weeks and look competent and look competitive, and then it's like, hey, whatever happens, happens. That's all I want. That's all I'm asking for. All I ever need is of this team to just look competitive and competent. They have not looked that a lot this year. Can you just look competitive and competent? I will say this, though. There is a chance that Jauan Jennings has a very big game this Monday. The Lions' defense uses the second most man coverage with the second highest rate of cover 1 in weeks 10 through 16. The last 6 weeks, they're playing man coverage at the second highest rate in the NFL. Jauan Jennings this year has thrived against man coverage. Thus far this year, Jennings has an above average 27 targets per route, which is 35th in football, and the 30 best yards per route, which is 2.5 against man coverage this year. If there is one player that I think could have a very big game, and obviously is this team's best receiver, not named George Kittle this year, it is Jauan Jennings. So look out for that. But that said, there ain't much else to say. It's going to be an interesting game on Monday Night Football. It might be a shellacking. It might be a gross embarrassment. But that's what happens when you have 16 players currently on injured reserve, and you have your starting running back, your backup running back, who was your starter. You have 3 left tackles, 2 left guards, a bunch of defensive linemen. You have multiple linebackers out. Like, this is what happens when your team is just a mess. And can you just get to 2025 with relatively the same health you currently have, no more injuries, and just look competitive and competent? I guess if I had to give a score prediction, I think I would say like 33 to like 17. The Lions win. But fingers crossed, San Francisco can maybe flip some heads and maybe say, wow, look at Brock Purdy. Like, there is a way. Very slim, but there is a chance, I guess. They can win this game, albeit it feels like it's not going to happen whatsoever. But, yeah, so I'll say 33-17, the Lions win. San Francisco falls to 6-10 on the year. Yikes. Never thought I'd say that this season, but here we are in 2024. I am eagerly and impatiently waiting to put this year behind us. But that's all I got for you today. Hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. If you can, leave a like on the YouTube video. Share it with your friends. Give us that 5-star review on the audio podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple. It doesn't matter where you're listening on. Give us that 5-star review. It is the freest and best way to help the show out on the charts, to reach more viewers, to help grow the audience we currently have. You guys have been great in 2024. You guys have been awesome. We've seen so much growth on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe there as well. And as a gift from me to you this holiday season, I want to give you $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek.com, whether it's MLB tickets, NBA tickets, a concert, maybe you want to go to the NFL playoffs. Go buy your tickets at SeatGeek.com, and when you check out, use promo code 49ERSAccess. It's 49ERSACCESS at SeatGeek.com, again, to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. If you also could, follow us on social media at 49ers_access is the X or Twitter. 49ers.access is the Instagram. Go to sportsspyder.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your favorite teams' latest news, podcasts, articles, all in one place just for you. NBA, NFL, MLB, does not matter. Sportsspyder.com is the place for you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful and happy New Year. And as always, my name is Sterling Bennett, and stay faithful.